I'm here with Markus, not to talk about Omnium Gatherum, not to talk about Insomnium, but to talk about I Am the Night, While the Gods Are Sleeping, out May 6th on Svark Records. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm doing fine. Fine to start my new old chapter in life with black metal. It's
And that's kind of where I want to start. Do you consider yourselves a super group, or just an amazing, talented group of friends that decided to do a record together?
yeah, I would say super group is usually more the word used with label people. We just are calling each other friends. Friends in metal that wants to play project together.
So when the time came to put the band together, how did you start to look at who do I need in order to put the band that I want, in order to create the sound that I want for this specific project?
Well, this goes as long as 98. Uh, we had like a black metal band called Vanhala together with Janne, who was still playing bass in Omnium Gatherum back then, and 10, 12 years after that also. So we played black metal with Janne, and it's always been our passion since the early 90s. And we kind of been growing with that, and it's been really important thing for us, and it is still. But then we somehow ended up playing melodic death metal and still are with Omnium Gatherum, and Janne was 12 years in Omnium Gatherum also, and then he retired to go for a normal life, normal job and stuff like that. Boring. Yeah, but now Janne is back also. We've been speaking about like years and years to do together like a black metal band, and we kind of started thinking this even before COVID times, and I had some songs ready before pandemic, and then when the pandemic hit, it was the perfect time to start this project for a real time, and because there was all the time in the world to do composing music and using this musical therapy to keep sanity, and this I Am the Night was really one of those. And what would be better time to form a black metal band than the worldwide pandemic? When the world ends, then we start.
So you guys are the starting points, but then how do you bring the other two pieces into the fold?
Well, Valtteri was natural choice for a drummer because he's my really good friend, and I know he's a super thing at the really short notice. And Valtteri was really into this because he's also always been into Emperor and Dissection and Dark Throne and all this black metal stuff. And so then we had like a band guys together, and then we started to think about singer, and I didn't have to look any further than my family, because Okko is my brother-in-law, and I think we were having some like a Christmas or something, and we were in really, this is really Finnish story, but we were in my like a, what is the word, like a my wife's parents' house, having like a Christmas sauna, little bit drunk in sauna, which is really Finnish thing, and Okko was there with me, and then I was saying that like I have this kind of new project that, and he was immediately saying like, I want to test sing for that project, and there we had it. Really easy.
Wow.
All the pieces were always really near me, but just have to like.
You just had to bring them together. Yeah, bring them together a little bit. So when it comes to put the music together, does it all start with you, or is the process a little bit more democratic, if you will?
I kind of did these songs in really secrecy, so very much all these songs were already written. All music was written when this band was like collected together. So the lyrical side and like with the vocal side, that's completely different. That's not my cup of tea. So that's where the democracy started. But basically the music was pretty much done in my head here before the band started. So
what does this band offer you that you just felt like you needed it? I mean, you're already busy as you are with so many other things, but what did you feel like this band was going to give you that it was a niche that you needed to scratch?
I've always wanted to do this kind of music. Like I said, I've always been a huge fan of black metal overall, and it's been really important in my life. And when we were kids, like 15 years old, this was our field. We were wandering the Finnish forests at night, and now it sounds really stupid, but back that time, me and Jan really did it, and it was true and evil. And so I kind of had like a vision for this album to do the album that 16-year-old Markus would love. So I did all the pieces on this album like the way that I loved in the mid 90s. And it included like cover artwork from Necrolord, because I praised Necrolord cover arts from like In the Nightside Eclipse from Emperor, and Dissection, Storm of the Light's Bane, and Somberlane, and Secret of the Black Arts by Drag Funeral. Necrolord always had like this vision. He could like paint the music, and it really makes the music so much better when you have that really cool artwork, because music is always comes together with pictures, so they serve each other. And then we had to get like a logo from Christopher Spitzel, who is like the guy again behind Emperor logo. So many parts on this band leads to Emperor, and I'm not gonna bullshit that.
You're not gonna lie,
because it's not any rip-off band. It's more like a tribute or nostalgic trip to the dark 90s.
so do you feel like there's something in this band that you guys are going to offer the fans? It's different than what's currently out there, or you're not even worried about that? You just worry about making the music like you said that the 12-year-old you wanted to make.
I'm not worried about anything surrounding I Am the Night. I know that many, because black metal music is a style where it's a lot of like a maybe a little bit narrow-minded people. So many people will really, black metal heads will hate me because this melodic death metal nerd from this nerdy bands like Insomnium and Omnium Gatherum is stepping to their fields, but I couldn't care less. I did this already in the 90s, so I was before many of you were even born. And this have been going so natural roots, this band, like all the time. So it's been really pressure free, and that kind of, I needed this kind of band because Insomnium and Omnium Gatherum are already like my job, my profession. I love the band, but this is completely different. Like
this is a hobby almost.
Yeah. It started as a hobby. And we spoke with Janne in the first place that we just want to do some like a black metal record in our rehearsal place and not even release it. And there we are now. The album is ready with cool videos, cool artwork.
Yeah.
Everything cool. We have a cool booking agent who is trying to get us on tour, but so far we are resisting it.
I'm going to ask you about that, but before I do, when I listened to this album, the first thing that jumped at me was the synthesizer sound, how predominant it was from beginning to end in terms of creating this atmosphere that surrounds the overall soundscape of the record. What are you trying to offer the experience by having that element staying so consistent from the first song all the way to the last song?
Well, how could I describe it? For me, synthesizers played in a way I like it. I don't like so much about like a symphonic metal or like a big orchestrations or stuff like that. I like more this kind of like 90s black metal vibe, which is really much, it's the sound of like nightly storms, night sky. That's synthesizers paints the night sky for my interests in some way, and they fell nicely together with the like a bustling saw guitars, which might be boring without synthesizers, or it's like a soundtrack to the nightly sky.
Yeah, it adds some texture, it adds some life to it. It doesn't make the sound devoid of it. I'm with you. I really like the darkness that it gives, this almost like storytelling with sound, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, like storms and stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Coldness comes via the
yeah,
keyboard or something.
it's really cool. Outside of that, those synths, the sound on the record, you already mentioned the 90s black metal, and I have to ask you this. Is the 90s black metal the best era of black metal, or is just the one that influenced you the most?
I would say it's the best era of black metal for me, and it's mainly the era that I've been listening. Of course, I like some Bathory and Celtic Frost from the 80s, but like 90s was where the magic was for me. And I don't even know that much of like in modern black metal because I just simply don't care. There's some cool albums for real. Like I like Vatane is cool stuff, new stuff, if you could say. And I really love the Finnish Satanic War Master Fimbulwinter album. That's a really good album, but there's not that many albums that really speak to me. Getting old, you know. When
Yeah,
I was
you're set in your ways.
yeah, when I was youngster, I always watched these old geezers always speaking about Uriah Heep and Deep Purple, and I thought like these guys are really stuck to their youth, and here I am.
No, you're one of them. No, you're
Yeah.
one of them. It's amazing. It's amazing how life goes full circle. When I was listening to this record, I still found some melodic death metal riffs in there. Is it really hard for you to separate yourself from that sound? That, you know, without even thinking, you're gonna throw one little lick in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it is in my blood. It's my DNA. So even if I would try to resist it, it somehow always comes. And that's the way I write. So there's nothing I can do for it.
And there's nothing wrong with it.
Probably like same with like Devin Townsend. It doesn't matter if Devin Townsend is doing like a strapping young lad or then some pop metal or even acoustic like this Ghost album was. It always sounds like Devin Townsend, even those albums are really different from each other. So I guess I have to say blessing and to curse.
Yeah, you're the Finnish Devin Townsend.
I didn't say that. I'm not that high level. I'm just Markus, and he's the Devin.
What kind of challenges did this album put forward to you? Was it a smooth process considering how close knitted you guys are as friends, or at one point in time did you look back and say, you know, maybe we should just kind of do it for ourselves and forget about the whole thing?
It just went so easily forward and naturally. So there's basically the biggest challenge we had during the recording process of this album was there was a huge snowstorm when we were in Juho Räihä's studio, and he's living like in the countryside in a field. And when we left the studio, there was a huge blizzard going on and a lot of snow, and our car was stuck in the snow. So that's it. hardest task on doing this album, and me and Janne were laughing like this is really something. We are doing like this black metal album, and immediately we are living like Battles in the North by Immortal videos and get stuck in the snow.
You mentioned Oko being your relative and you bringing him in to do the vocals. Is it difficult to work with a family member?
It's really easy. If we have some problems, then I will tell to my wife, who is Okko's bigger sister, so every problem solved.
See, I thought it would be the other way around, that she would come in the defense of her little brother.
Yeah. This project is something different. We have different kind of chemistry now. It's family business.
He's a great vocalist, and for those that don't know, he's in Horizon Ignited, who just got signed with Nuclear Blast. Were you amazed with because the way he sounds in Horizon Ignited is much different from what he's doing in I Am the Night. Were you impressed? Or let me ask you differently, when he offered to be part of this project, did you have any doubts that he would be able to deliver?
I know he's a chameleon, and he can do a lot of different kind of sounds. But I had never heard this black metal voice of Okko. I knew he's have a really good clean sound and really good growling sound, and he's really good on like a copycatting, like for a joking and copycatting some other people's voices. But I've never heard this black metal side of him, but I trusted the guys can do that. And then I just said like some black metal singers that voice I love, and he was like, okay, I tried to do that. And then he got few days to rehearse, and then came to my home studio and nailed it.
Yeah,
I was impressed at the first listen when he started.
So was I. The first time that I listened to the band, knowing him from Horizon Ignited, I was like, wow, this is the same person, same voice. It's night and day.
Yeah.
Really
there
interesting.
is like there is Tommy Joutsen from Amorphis inside Okko, and there is like Michael Åkerfeldt inside of him, and there is Devin, and there's Jon Nerdwhite of Dissection living in him. That guy's insane, like a jukebox.
Yeah, he is. When you guys were working on these tracks, or should I say when you were working on these tracks, did you keep the thought process within the team, or did you reach out to somebody else outside and say, like, hey, we're doing this, what do you think? Or was there any of that?
Well, it was a natural choice to get like also Juho on board for like a studio production side, because I've known Juho for like 20 years, and I know he's also black metal guy from the heart, and have been playing in black metal bands and love the same things that I love. So we just spoke about the vision that we want to do. We are doing this really 90s way and nothing else, no modern stuff at all. And you knew what we were after, and the guys in the band know what we are after, and we didn't want to do any tricks and traps with the studio. It's just like a real deal. We had really tiny amount of time in the studio because we didn't want to start this polishing of the sounds, which is usually like a modern standard, that recording like long time, days and days. I think I did guitars almost like in one day, and Valtteri did like the drums in one day, and it was me and Juho were like laughing when we were watching Valtteri play because it was so insanely good. It's
He's
like
incredible.
a real take. It's full. All in the album is basically like full takes. It's not like a let's make this 1 second better. It's like from start to finish of the song. And I really rehearsed a lot for this album, more than for Insomnium or Omnium Gatherum releases, which is kind of funny, but it's true, because still this was bit different stuff that I've been playing like lately. So I had to rehearse a lot of this saw hand to keep it working. And it was really important for me to do the full takes and no bullshit and
keep everything
not faking it.
Organic. Yeah. Well, you mentioned earlier that you have a booking agent, so I'm assuming this is not going to be a one-off album. It's something that you guys were going to continue to work on, right?
Yeah, as long as it feels good, there might be some new stuff, and if it like is coming out as easily and naturally as While the Gods Are Sleeping it was coming out, then I'm really into it, but not into doing any black metal stuff like just for doing it. This have to be like a natural thing for everyone and having a good time. There's already like a first gig booked, and we were like into doing some really selected amount of shows when people can go with the same weekends, which is impossible for get the calendars with Paradise Lost and Insomnium and Omnium Gatherum and Horizon Ignited, that there's nothing, but there will be some shows. And our booking agency is trying to push us on tours, and he already offered really good tour for us, and we were like, we would want to do this, but unfortunately we have other commitments with another band, so we'll see.
Maybe you guys can do a Paradise Lost, Omnium Gatherum, Horizon Ignited tour, and therefore you can throw in I Am the Night as the opening band.
Yeah, there you have it.
You solved the problem right there.
Yeah. You have to be our manager from now on.
I have one last question for you. What happens while the gods are sleeping?
Well, on this album, particularly, it is happening that the bad guys who hate the authorities, they are, whatever they are, they might be Satan, or they might be some different, like local boys who are fighting towards the police or something, but it's against the authorities. And while the gods are sleeping, the forces of night are climbing to the sky and ripping the angels' wings and burning everything in heaven, and just they're taking it to their command.
Wow, really philosophical. I love that ending.
I just turned 40. So this is my midlife crisis. But basically, the lyrics are in fact written that way, that it's just this evil takes command from the good stuff, but at the same time, it's like against the authorities, whatever it is. It can be whatever
it can be. Whatever,
fighting to
whenever.
neighbor or whatever.
Well,
your
Markus,
neighbor is good and you are the bad, and you are winning your good neighbor.
well, Markus, thank you very much for your time today, man. I really appreciate it. I feel like we just spoke 2 weeks ago, and that's probably because we did. But but thank you for taking the time today to talk to me about the record. All the best to you, the guys, everybody, and thanks for sharing some of your black metal sounds with the rest of the world.
Thank you. This was a pleasure as always.